Americans and other citizens living in the US, please pay attention. I'm European. I'm from Portugal. I'm a lawyer and I've studied law. I've studied international law and the events that created several international laws. So those events, how you can imagine, they are wars, invasions, genocides. You need to pay attention and act immediately. If you are an immigrant, even if you are legal immigrant, you need to leave immediately because you are going to be the next. If you are trans, I guess you already understand what is happening. You need to leave immediately. Also, if you are gay, you need to leave immediately. People of any color besides white are going to be in danger. So, if you have the ability to leave, do it. Especially if you have children, leave. The others need to stay and need to protest, to resist. This is going to be very ugly. And I really would like this video, this message, will go to cross the Atlantic and to you guys. Please share as many times you can. I'm not going to go on details. I'm just saying, if you are one of these people, leave immediately. Immediately. Don't think twice. Okay? We are very concerned, very, very, very concerned. We are watching with horror. We've saw this happen before here. And your borders probably will close in 1 or 2 months. And prisons are being built. And nobody will be safe. But white people, in particularly, you need to protest right now. Oh, I'm going to lose my job. If every single one of you go to the street, you are not going to lose your job. Okay? You need to understand that you were educated with individualism, but you really need to act like a community right now. You really need to change that mind, and you really need to act as a community right now. And don't be afraid, oh, if I'm going to protest, they do this, or they will do worst. Will do worst. Please, take this video very serious. We know what is going to happen. We see it when trans people cannot have a passport issued right now. This is so concerning. So concerning. If they are refusing to issue passports, please get a lawyer and never ever go there alone. Hire a lawyer. It's very important that every single one of you, especially these people that I mentioned, if you are not able to get a passport to leave the country, please hire a lawyer. Don't try to do it by yourself. It will be dangerous, okay? So, I'm not going to say more right now. But we are watching, and we are here to support you and open our arms if it's necessary. So good luck to all of you.
Hey, Shalom. I'd like to start out by giving all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, or Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of Israel. This is the Mayim in Atlanta, and just saw a clip there from the page Arrows of Indignation 144. He posts great clips, check him out. But this lady is basically speaking on the time of Jacob's trouble. She's talking about great wrath coming down from the so-called white man. And so-called white men are the biblical Edomites. And this includes the small hatters, so-called Caucasians, Europeans, whatever they want to call themselves, including the small hatters. They all just go back to, or I shouldn't say all, not everyone with pale skin goes back to Edom, but for the most part, those are the Edomites. Esau is the progenitor of the so-called white race. And they had a set amount of time that the Lord gave them to rule, in which he gave them blessings to do so. So he gave them the blessing of the fatness of the earth, as well as getting it through the blessing of the sword. And they're about to come down with that sword. It was a temporary blessing. They see they're losing power and sway within the earth, and seeing that their time is just about up. And so they're going to come down with great wrath. They're going to use that blessing, the sword, to try to keep their power and try to remain in power. And she's basically talking about their plans that they have for all of the earth. She mentioned a lot of different things in this. First, she was speaking to the alphabets and telling them to leave the country, which who cares if they do or don't? They're not going to have, from here on out, they're basically unsafe. But who cares? They because they're going against the Heavenly Father's will in the first place. So that's on them. But then she spoke of so-called minorities, or basically she's speaking to Jacob being the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, telling us to leave. But for Jacob, we don't have anywhere to go. We are brought here forcefully, and as the hopeful elect, we're waiting on Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai to deliver us back into our own land, and praying that we have that covering, that protection in this time of trouble that is coming, because Esau is coming down. She also told immigrants, even if they're legal immigrants, to go ahead and leave. She said that the borders are going to eventually close. She said there's jails being built, which are sea camps or concentration camps. I think I could say that word. And she was telling the people to go out and protest. All these things she said are actually align with the scriptures. Second Esdras speaks of, actually, I should just go ahead and get it, but because Second Esdras 15 speaks of how a man shall desire to go into a city, but he won't be able to. Yeah, Second Esdras 15 and 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. And that great tribulation is on the way. But she mentioned shutting down the borders. People aren't going to be able to travel freely as they once were. jumping up to verse 16, it says, For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. She mentioned protesting as well. And this protesting is going to eventually turn into sedition and people going against the government, the powers that be, because they're coming down unjustly to try to keep their established dominance on this earth, but it's just not going to work out. And this is a time of trouble. It's mentioned as Jacob's trouble, but it's going to be trouble for everybody on this earth. We're coming into the Lord's judgment. There's going to be famines, sedition among men. They're going to be throwing people into these concentration camps. And there's going to be World War III going on, as well as other wars domestically, like Civil War and race wars. It's all going to happen in the very near future. She also mentioned telling the immigrants that they should leave, and that is scriptural as well. So it's Jeremiah 51 and verse 9. It says, We would have healed Babylon. Babylon is America, US of A. But she is not healed, and they've been trying to make America great again, in which it's just not going to happen. It's had its time, its rise, and now it's in its fall, and eventually its complete destruction is going to come. You can't heal this place. And what else? Biden had Build Back Better. They're always trying to make this place, get it back to its glory days, but it's just not, it can't happen. It's time for America to go down, time for Babylon to fall, and it's time for the heathen in general to come out of rulership, because they have done a terrible job of ruling. It says, Forsake her, and let us go every one into his own country. And these different heathen that are here, or different immigrants from around the world, are going to start going back to their own countries, because they could see, it's easy to see it at this point. Not everybody can, because there's a lot of people that are just asleep and blinded. But you can see that this place is not in good condition, and that the future is not bright for America. And this devil is showing his horns, and people are seeing the racism of these Edomites as well. It's seeing that they're trying to go against all immigrants, so these immigrants are going to go back to their own countries. It says, For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. And this place was built on sin, built on the bloodshed of our brothers Gad and Reuben and the rest of the northern kingdom, and built on witchcraft as well. The founding fathers were all Masons. You could just look at the grid of Washington, D.C., and at your dollar. This is all witchcraft. And on lies. It's all lies and robbery. The prey departeth not. This place has a lot to pay for, and its judgment is very near. We're just waiting on the Lord to judge this place. But in the meantime, hoping and praying that we're found worthy to be delivered out of this place, because America eventually gets nuked, and we want to be delivered out of that nuclear destruction that's coming. And we want to eat during the famine. We want our families to eat during the famine and get through all this trouble that is coming. And so we're praying we're under the Lord's shadow, under his protection, and what's coming, because Babylon will be judged no matter what. It's done too much evil to not be judged. It's a extremely wicked place. It has done a lot of underhanded things. It's taken on the scriptures and claims to be one with the scriptures, that it's the law of the land, but they do everything the exact opposite. Even as well as they push that false image around, which is blasphemy. The Lord's got to judge them for that. And they touch the apple of the Lord's eye, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who are the biblical Israelites, as well as our scattered, because we've been scattered into all the other nations as well. So we're going to come back looking like the other nations. But Esau has done everything in his power to make our time here as miserable as possible. He's polluted the earth as well. He's got to pay for that because they have destroyed the earth. There's a lot to pay for. This is Sirach 10 and verse 8, because of unrighteous dealings. You could think about all of the treaties done with Gad and Reuben. They were broken all on the American side, on the Edomite side. These are unrighteous dealings. All they do is lie. All they do is bring mischief into the earth, and they'll pass it off as being a form of good, but it's really for evil. These are unrighteous dealings, and the Lord says, woe to them that call evil good and good evil. Unrighteous. This has to go down. Injuries, there have been countless deaths from the Edomites, not just their wars, in which they've had, massive amounts of war, but they also do medical experiments, especially on Jake. Their overall way of living is destructive and brings death, and then they push their death culture onto the rest of the world, telling them that it's civilized, and this just brings countless injuries. You could even include marriage injuries, because they've pushed their feminism onto the world, which really was just a divide and conquer strategy, as well as a depopulation strategy, by putting the woman up above the man. And this has injured families and marriages. These are injuries, as well as pushing their baby deletion. These are injuries. They have to be judged for this. And the rich is got by deceit. That's how they've gotten all of their wealth, through deceit and robbery, through their blessing the sword. It says the kingdom, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. They were coming to their end. The Lord gave them bounds that they cannot pass, and they've done such a terrible job that the Lord is finally sick of it. And prophecy had to play out, and they were always going to lose this kingdom, but overall they've done a terrible job at being stewards of the earth. I want to go back to that riches got by deceit. You even think about the amount of money that the world sends to the small hatters, because they have fooled the entire world into thinking that they are the people, the Lord's people. They're not the Lord's people. Everything they've gotten is all through deceit, because they're not the Lord's people at all. They're the people that the Lord hates. But going back to the subject of this devil coming down with great wrath, we gotta hit Daniel 12 and verse 1. It says, and at that time shall Michael stand up. Michael's one of the 4 archangels, which I believe there's actually 7 of them. But Michael, Michaela, whose name means he who is like the Most High, he's going to stand up for the Israelites in this coming time. But just imagine, it's so bad that the Lord has to send an archangel to help out. It's a really terrible time. It says, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. So standing for the Israelites, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, because this devil will have come down with such great wrath. It says, and there shall be a time of trouble. This is Jacob's trouble, which is going to turn into all of the people's trouble. It's going to be Moab's trouble. It's going to be Edom's trouble. It's going to be Ishmael's trouble, and Elam's trouble, Ham's trouble. It's going to be everybody's trouble, because this is a terrible time. It says, and there shall be a time of trouble, Jacob's trouble, such as never was since there was a nation. The whole history of the earth has been violence and destruction. It's been some awful times on this planet. Think of all of the wars that have existed. Think of ancient war and being involved hand to hand. Those were big wars. And then you got the world wars as well, which there were a ton of casualties throughout that. You've got slavery, which was a terrible time for the Israelites. You've got the plagues, the Black Plague. That was a terrible time. I believe it killed off more than a third of Europe's population in that time. These are history's full of terrible times, but the Lord is saying this time that we're about to come into is worse than all of those terrible times. It says, such as never was since there was a nation, even to the same time. It's bad times coming, which evil means bad times. There's a bunch of badness coming, a bunch of evil coming to this earth. And it says, and at that time thy people shall be delivered, the Israelites shall be delivered from under the hand of the Edomites, because deliverance and salvation hinges on the downfall of one people and the deliverance of the other, in which only Israel can be saved. And so Christians talking about everyone can be saved. What about the downfall of the people? Because Edom controls Babylon, and Babylon and Edom's judgments are intertwined. And then at the end of the day, they get taken off the earth. Their entire seed line is taken off the earth after they serve out their 1,000 years of hardcore captivity. How can everybody be saved when one people, or how can everybody be delivered and saved when one people's seed line gets taken off the earth? They're just liars. Deliverance is only for the nation of Israel. And even of Israel, only 1/3 are going to be delivered from this land here in Babylon. It says, everyone that shall be found written in the book. And this book was written before the earth began, also showing you that there's no free will. The elect were always destined to be delivered. And we're just praying that we're of that number, of the elect that will be delivered. But what that lady was talking about in the clip, this is Jacob's trouble she's talking about, and saying it's very soon, very near. She mentioned the borders might be shut down in a month or in 2 months. That's very near. As Apostle Tahar says, the end of Babylon could be within the next coming months, whether that be 6 months, or 12 months, 48 months. Well, Lord will, not 48 months. That's still a long time, but Lord willing, this happens soon, because we might as well get through this tough part. We might as well have the kingdom set up as soon as possible. But it's all on the Lord's time. No man knows the day or the hour. So her saying that doesn't mean it's going to happen, but we could see all the signs that this is coming soon. So Jeremiah 30 and verse 7. It says, alas, for that day it's great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. It's the great and terrible day of the Lord. With that comes Jacob's trouble, which I should say time period. Not necessarily just one day that Jacob's trouble will be happening, but it's going to turn into everybody's trouble. It's going to be a terrible time to be on the earth. But especially for really all of the heathen, because they don't have hope and faith that they could be delivered out of this. Just only Jacob has that opportunity. It says, but he shall be saved out of it. Only Jacob can be saved. And what's coming? Don't try to protest, like she said. We're just having patience and faith in the Lord and waiting for him to return, because he's going to rise up. Yahweh Shai is going to rise up to the prey. He's going to remove these people from power. Protesting is just going against the powers that be, which the Lord set up. We want nothing to do with that. Don't leave, because this is where the great deliverance occurs. I want to see the downfall of our enemies. And you should as well. And just hang in there. Do what you need to do. Turn back to the Lord as much as you can, because this time of trouble is coming. It's written of, so it's going to happen. So, Lord willing, that was edifying. I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rekha Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone. Shalom to the elect of Israel. Shalom.